All right, so we've got all the functionality built out in this awesome link shortener app. The only thing left to do is really add some styling so that this form is looking a little bit better and so that this menu item is linked up. And so to do that, we will use something called Crispy Forms, which I'll include a link to. And it's a popular package for making Django forms look nicer. And they come with this concept of template packs, which lets you add styling based on a CSS framework. So if you've heard of Bootstrap or Foundation, or in our case, Tailwind, they let you add styling easily to forms to fit whatever CSS framework you are using for the rest of your website. And so we'll just follow along with the docs here. So the first thing we're going to want to do is install this package. So pip install Django-Crispy Forms. So we'll copy that, go back into our terminal. Make sure our server is stopped with Control-C. Make sure your virtual environment is activated though, and pip install Django-Crispy-Forms. Awesome, so that's installed. If we go back to the docs, the next thing to do is add Crispy Forms to your installed apps. So we'll grab this right here, and we'll go back into our settings.py on our project. So config settings.py installed apps. We can just say third party and paste that in. Always remember that trailing comma. Perfect. So what's next? The next thing is to define a template pack. And since we're using Tailwind, it doesn't natively support Tailwind. So there is actually another package that we had to install, Crispy-Tailwind, but it's pretty simple and pretty quick. So I'll also include this link here for this documentation, but we just need to pip install Crispy-Tailwind as well. So go back to the terminal, pip install Crispy-Tailwind. Perfect, that's installed. So now we have the two packages. We need to add this to our installed apps as well, Crispy_Tailwind. So if we come here right below Crispy Forms, paste that in and save that like so. And then we have to define our template packs. So we can just say Crispy allow template packs and Crispy template pack our Tailwind, and this is in our settings.py. So we'll copy that, go back to this settings.py file, scroll down to the bottom, and paste those in. Perfect. And now to actually use these, we want to use them in our create HTML page. So we'll close up this config, go to our links app, go back into our template and links directory, create.html. And here, it was extending this base HTML, which uses Tailwind. So that's why by default, our form was showing up pretty blank. So what we're going to want to do here is load Tailwind underscore filters. So that loads in the Tailwind filters. And then we can apply this filter to this form by just adding a pipe crispy, and it'll apply the crispy form styling to this form. And we can add a few other things to make it look a little bit better. Like we can wrap this in a div, and we can add some classes to this div. We can say small, we want the width to be 3/4 of the screen, and we want it to be MX Auto, so centered. And then on our input, we can add some classes to make the input style a little bit better. We can say it's rounded, heading X of 5, so left and right, padding top and bottom, PY of 2, BG of green 300, and then on hover, we can add cursor pointer, and that should look a little bit nicer. And then the final thing is in our base.html, we want to update this create link, add link button to actually go to the correct page. So we can just wrap this button in an A tag. And we can add the URL as the href. So we could say URL to, we named it create-link. Like so. Perfect. So now we save these and we go back to our application and we go home. Oh, but we have to run the server. So we pause the server to download those packages. We have to say python manage.py run server. If we can spell it, run server. Perfect. Then we pull back up the browser, refresh the home page, and we see all of our links here, and the clicks tracking is working. If we click add link, it takes us to this create a link form, and our form is displayed much nicer. So another one, we could say https://www.youtube.com, and the slug we can add as YouTube new. Click create, and boom, it creates our link here. We can open a link and be redirected to the full URL, espn.com. And if we come back to the homepage, then it updates the number of clicks. Awesome. So this is a very cool project that we've made, and we have dove into Django forms and model forms and how easy it is to create and save objects to the database. And in the next section, we're going to be looking into class-based views and how to use class-based views. So far, we've been using functional-based views, but we will use class-based views to build a Linktree clone. So if you've seen those link in bio websites like Linktree, we will build a clone of that using class-based views. Look forward to seeing you in that next section.